Okay, sige, let's start. Good afternoon. Okay, so I've seen your the result of your quiz. So, merong mga naka-perfect. Hindi pa na-release yung ano, no? Yung scores? O na-release ba automatic? Hello?
Na-release po siya automatic.
Na-release naman. Okay. So you already saw your score. So, madali lang naman pala yung quiz na. Okay. Maraming naka-perfect. Siguraduhin niyo lang di kayo nagkopyahan. Ano? Kasi kung magkokopyahan kayo, edi useless na yan, no? Okay, anyway, let's go back. Where did we stop? We're done with taxation. We already defined this, no? That this is one of the supreme power of the state. Pasadahan lang natin. With nature, it's inherent, legislative in power. Subject to constitutional inherent. Parang doon na tayo, no? The inherent limitations, if I am not mistaken. Theory and basis. So, balikan lang natin the necessity theory because it is necessary for the government. Otherwise, hindi tayo magko-continue to for our operation to continue or for the government to continue its operations. It's necessary that we have taxes. Lifeblood doctrine, meaning to say that taxes are the lifeblood, no, of government. Again, otherwise, patay na, no, yung gobyerno pag wala tayong lifeblood. Then, of course, the benefits and protection theory wherein the taxpayers or the citizens benefited, no, from the collection of taxes, no. So, yun yung number one aim naman po ng taxes is for us, no, for the government to improve or to give the services necessary for the people. So it's also known as reciprocity theory, wherein the taxes paid by us, by the taxpayers, from there, meron tayong benefits and protection na makukuha based from the taxes that we are paying. Okay, inherent powers of state, the taxation power, police power, eminent domain. So I have discussed this, no? Taxation power is the supreme power of the state wherein the government enforce, no, for us to pay or contribute to support the government expenditures. Police power, it's the power to protect citizens. Eminent domain, it's the power to take private property, of course with just compensation, given that it is for public use. Okay? So, nature of taxation, so it's just the same as we have discussed earlier, that it's taxation uses or the government uses the power of taxation for them to raise and accumulate revenue or to pay the necessary expenses of the government. Okay? Nature of police power, asan na ba tayo? Eminent domain. Okay, just compensation, yun yung payment, no? Scope, are we done with scope? Okay, actually, when we define it and when we discuss the nature of taxation, I have already mentioned, no, about the scope of taxation when we say comprehensive, malawak, plenary, subject to cases, no, subject to imprisonment, unlimited, pwedeng sobrang dami because they can tax income, they can tax services, they can tax individuals and non-individuals, they can tax properties. Also, supreme because again, it is the supreme power of the state. Then we have the inherent limitations. So I have, parang dito tayo natapos or tapos ko na ba itong na-discuss? We're done with this, di ba? So balikan lang natin. So territoriality of taxation. So meaning to say, may mga territory, no? It's for, let's say, region 3, region 1, region 2. So per region, okay, normally ganun siya nahahati-hati. Okay, now, international committee, no? That no country is powerful than the other, meaning to say, so yung taxes or sorry, the income that was earned dun sa specific country, dun lang siya taxable. Okay, and the earnings from other country, taxable dun sa country kung saan na-earn or na-derive yung income. Okay? So, example na, let's say we have foreign corporations. So, when we say foreign corporation, no, just to add up, pag domestic corporation, from the word domestic, ibig sabihin it's a Philippine corporation. While a foreign corporation, syempre yun yung foreign, no? Ibig sabihin hindi dito na-create. Okay? Kasi we have the so-called, I do not know if you're done with law on corporation. So sa corporation code kasi, yung mga corporation na hindi na-create under the Philippine law, under the code, the corporation code of the Philippines, foreign yun, no, outside the Philippines yun. Any corporation that was created in the Philippines will be subject to the corporation code. Yun yung tinatawag nating domestic. Okay? So, any income derived from the Philippines by a foreign corporation, yun yung taxable sa Pilipinas. Kasi nga, dito siya, no? Pero yung mga other, doon siya sa country kung saan nila na-derive yung earnings. Okay, next. Of course, public purpose, no? When we say public purpose, tax is intended for common good. No, taxation must be exercised absolutely for public purpose. It cannot be exercised to further any private interest. Okay? So, hindi pwedeng for private purpose, kaya tayo itatax, no? Exemption of the government. The government are exempt from tax. Okay? Pero yung mga nagtatrabaho sa government, like us, hindi naman kami exempted sa tax, no? Nagbabayad kami ng tax. Only the government. Kasi, di ba, in an organization, if it's a private organization, the corporation or the organization itself is subject to tax. As well as their employees, no? Yung mga empleyado nila ay subject din sa tax. But in the case of government, si government itself, for an instance, a city of Baliwag, hindi siya subject to tax. Okay, hindi ako sanay, no? Dating municipality of Baliwag lang ang sinasabi ko. Ngayon, city na siya, no? So, exempted siya sa tax, pero yung mga empleyado ng City of Baliwag ay subject to tax. Non-delegation of taxing power. So, who has the exclusive taxing power, no? The legislative taxing power is vested in Congress. Okay, so Congress po ang gumagawa, okay, or nagki-create ng mga batas with regards to taxing power or taxation power. The power of lawmaking, including taxation, is delegated by the people to the legislature. Okay, so hindi pwedeng sabihin ni President, let's say President Marcos, no? Na okay, i-tax nyo ng ganitong rate yung sugar or yung tobacco. Of course not, no? It cannot be done through an executive order or administrative order. It should be done through a legislation. So, dadaan siya ng Congress, may hearing, di ba? May mga first, second reading tayo. Okay? Exemptions to the rule of non-delegation of taxing power. Number 1 is yung power ng local government units because they are allowed to exercise the power to tax to enable them to exercise this fiscal autonomy. For an instance, City of Baliwag, ano yung mga taxes na sinisingil, no? Okay, kasi ang mga nagko-collect ng taxes, no? When we say taxes, meron tayong tinatawag na national tax and local tax. Or just to define or just to differentiate it. When we say national taxes, yan yung yan yung sinisingil ni BIR or Bureau of Internal Revenue. Okay, yan yung common to all businessmen. So, yan yung binabayaran natin per region, per revenue district, revenue district office. And at the same time, yung sa tariff duties, ayun naman yung sa Bureau of Customs. Normally, yan yung mga import and export. So, yan yung mga binabayaran nila. Now, pag sinabi natin local taxes, ito yung mga kinikreate ng local sanggunian. Okay, local sanggunian. For an instance, City of Baliwag, ano ba yung mga taxes dyan? Ano mga tinatax nila? Business tax. Okay? Business permits, yung kapag mag-renew or mag-open ka ng isang business, hinahayaan or may autonomy ang bawat local government unit on how they are going to collect taxes. So, hindi nyo pwedeng i-compare si Baliwag kay Pulilan or si Pulilan kay Plardel or San Rafael or Candaba kasi magkakaiba sila depending on the status of the local government unit. Yan yun. Yun yung isang example. So, ano pa yung mga tinatax natin? Aside from business taxes or meron pa tayong tinatawag na real property taxes or RPT. Yung RPT na yun naman yung tinatax natin sa real property. Yun yung sa lupa. Okay? Ano pa? So aside from real property tax, business tax, may idea pa ba kayo? Anong sinisingil ng gobyerno, local? Wala. Okay. Another mga taxes na in a form of taxes, ang tawag natin, let's say, marriage fees. Taxes yon, no? They are local taxes. Mga certification fees na kinukuha niya sa munisipyo, those are local taxes. At sino ang nagde-design or nag-legislate nun? Local sanggunian. Halimbawa, certified true copy ng inyong birth certificate from the local civil registry office. Magkano ba sa Baliwag ngayon? Per certified true copy, 100 pesos, 80 pesos, 50 pesos. Dito kasi sa amin sa Zambales, per municipality, iba-iba din. So those are local taxes, no? So may fiscal autonomy si local government unit on that. Now, under the Tariff and Customs Code naman, okay, the President is empowered to fix the amount of tariffs to be flexible to trade conditions. So depending on trade. So the President has the authority, okay? But when it comes to revenue, National Internal Revenue Code, walang power, no? It should be legislated. Okay, so yun yung mga exceptions to the rule of non-delegation. So general rule, the power of taxation vested exclusively in Congress, except for LGUs and for tariffs. Okay, any questions? Are we clear for inherent limitations of taxation powers? Wala? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so next is the constitutional limitations of the taxation power. So when we say limitations of constitutional limitations, number one is due process of law. Okay, when we say due process of law, what do we mean by that? Ang ibig sabihin ng due process of law? Anyone? Hindi nyo na alam kung ano. Hindi nyo alam ano ang due process of law? Okay, when we say due process of law, di ba? No one should be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. Tax law should neither be harsh nor oppressive. Meaning to say, kahit supreme ang power to tax, hindi pwedeng sabihin, or this property is subject to tax without any due process. Okay? Tax, technically, no? A tax, ang titingnan natin dyan, tax must be imposed only for public purpose. Okay? Collected only under authority of a valid law and only by the taxing power having jurisdiction. So there should be no arbitraries in assessment and collection, and the government shall observe the taxpayer's right to notice and hearing. So ibig sabihin, kapag kasi Bureau of Internal Revenue, which is siya ang nag-i-implement nito, hindi pwedeng basta sasabihin na lang niya, singilin ka of this much without any due process. May process yon, no? Padadalhan ko muna ng letter of authority, meaning you have to explain. Halimbawa, meron silang question on your income tax. For a certain business, meron silang question na doon ang question nila is, hindi ka nila pwedeng paratangan that you are underpayment yung tax mo unless it was already investigated. Okay, hindi pwedeng sabihin, kulang ng 1 million sa ABC Corporation as to payment of tax in the year 2020. Hindi ganon. Ang sasabihin ng BIR sa'yo, please provide, no? You have to provide for unnecessary documents to suffice kung bakit ang binayaran mo is only 200,000 for an instance. Kasi as per their computation, isusulat nila doon, 1 million yung dapat mong bayaran. Where is the other 800,000 for an instance? Then, bibigyan ka nila ng right to answer yung kanilang query through a letter of authority. So, ibig sabihin, iimbestigahan ka nila yon. Ipapadala sa iyo lahat ng books, ipapadala sa iyo yung sales report mo for a certain period, yung 2020 nga na sinasabi ko. Then, from there, magko-compute tayo. Then you have to defend kung bakit ka nag-come up doon sa 200,000 na payment mo. Where in fact, their computation is 1 million. So that's due process. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na bayaran mo yung 800,000 na remaining. Okay, next. Equal protection of the law. Okay, when we say equal protection of the law, no person shall be denied the equal protection of the law. Taxpayers should be treated equally, both in terms of right conferred and obligations imposed. Meaning to say, all taxpayers with the same circumstances are taxed. They are taxed similarly. Okay, halimbawa, all those earning kasi meron tayong bracket, no? All those earning 400,000, 250,000 to 400,000 will be taxed this much. Kasi yun yung circumstances nila. So, hindi pwedeng selective. Si Mr. A. Mr. A is technically a billionaire. Itatax natin siya this much. Kahit na let's say, we're talking of income tax pa lang, no? Ang income lang niya is only 400. So, hindi pwede. What is for one is for everyone. So, ganun siya dapat. That's equal protection. So, yung may mas malaking capacity, those who are earning 400,000 and above to 800,000 in a year, iba din yung bracket nila. 800 to 1 million, 1.2 million is different. 1.2 to 1.5 is also different, etc., etc. Okay? That's equal protection of the law. So, depende yon, no? Kung ano yung circumstances ni taxpayers, yun yung basis ng kanilang basis ng kanilang itatax doon sa person na yun. Next, uniformity rule in taxation. The rule of taxation shall be uniform and equitable. Taxpayers under the similar circumstances should not be taxed the same. Ayun, halimbawa, yun nga, same example, yung rate mo should be different doon sa dapat na rate, di ba? For a while, ha? I have to answer this call. And also anyway, we only have 6 minutes pa sana. Okay, next, uniformity rule in taxation. Taxpayers should be classified according to commonality in attributes. The tax classification to be adopted should be based on substantial distinction. Each class is taxed differently. For instance, a business tax. Those who are earning 3 million and below in annually, no, 3 million and below, they are only subject to a percentage tax, which is 3% starting July 2023. Naging 1% kasi yan nung pandemic. And those who are earning more than 3 million annually, I'm referring to a gross sale, no? So, ibig sabihin, if you're earning more than 3 million, you are subject to VAT or value-added tax. Kaya pansinin niyo yung resibo nyo, no? Minsan, pasahin nyo. Tingnan nyo dun sa upper, di ba? May name of company, non-VAT or VAT. So, you just have to be familiar. So, kapag VAT yon, they are subject to 12%. While yung non-VAT, they are subject to percentage. So, depende sa class. Okay? Ma'am, saan po namin makikita yon? Sa COR. Okay. So, ma'am, naka-register kami as percentage taxpayers. Tapos, exceed ng 3 million, automatically yun, i-charge kayo ng BIR, kukumputa nila kayo. Kaya, dapat alam yan ng mga bookkeeper or business owner na dapat mag-VAT registered na sila for that specific year. Halimbawa, ano pa lang, September, 3 million na. So, ibig sabihin, pagka ganun na 3 million na, mag-register na sila or mag-update sila ng registration. So, that's the classification. Iba-iba kasi yung classification. Mamaya, may iba pang classification as to other, other businesses. No? Then, let's have non-imprisonment. Progressive system of taxation. What do we mean by progressive system? When we say progressive system, tax rates increases as the tax base increases. Yung kanina, 250 to 400,000 this much. This is the rate. 400,000 to 800, mas tataas. Mas malaki, the more you earn, the more you pay. The more you need to pay taxes. Mas lumalaki siya. Okay? That's progressive system of taxation. Sabi nila, ito daw yung equality na ina-achieve. So, meaning to say, yung mga below minimum wage earner or yung mga indigent, no? Hindi sila magbabayad ng tax kasi ito lang yung earnings nila. Pero the more that you are earning, the more you have the capacity to pay, then the more you need to pay taxes. Mas mataas ang computation nila. Non-imprisonment for non-payment of debt or poll tax. As a policy, di ba? No one shall be imprisoned because of poverty or no one shall be imprisoned for inability to pay debt, except for those who constitute estafa. Yung debt in good faith, yon, no imprisonment for that. Pero pagka nag-constitute ka ng estafa, that's a criminal offense, punishable by imprisonment. Iba naman yun. Okay? Kaya yung sabi nila, walang nakukulong sa utang. Totoo yon. Pero pag nag-constitute ka ng estafa, ibig sabihin, that's a criminal offense. So, punishable by law yun. And how about the non-payment of tax? Okay? Is non-payment of tax equivalent to non-payment of debt? What do you think? Okay, hindi. Magkaiba yon. Pag sinabi natin non-payment of debt, utang yon. Pag from the word itself and from the spelling, magkaiba yon. Debt and tax. Take note that taxes are demanded from the citizens by the sovereign state. State ang At saka, i-define sino yung itatax. So, all we need to do as citizens of the Philippines is to pay for tax. And that's why we have the so-called imprisonment of non-payment of tax, but not to debt. Kasi iba yon, no? It's another story. Okay? The constitutional guarantee on non-imprisonment of non-payment of debt does not extend to non-payment of tax. Parang sinabi niya, may utang ako sa tax. Yes, it's utang. Utang sa tax. It's another story with the certain debt. Pag sinabing debt, debt to another person or debt to an individual or debt to a lending or non-individual institution. That's another case. Okay? Next, non-impairment of obligation and contract. Okay, we only have 1 minute, we will continue. Dito tayo nagtapos na non-impairment of obligation. See you in the next 15 minutes.